Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new here. Today we have a full moon in Capricorn, so I'll be reading the tarot cards in that way. Kind of, full moons are about releasing things, letting things go, kind of shifting direction, choosing a new place to put our energy, right? So all of that is what I'll be looking at today for you. I have 3 groups. You can go ahead and pick by the card you can see, by the number, the sound of my voice, group 1, group 2, or group 3. When you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and I will see you at the reading that you chose. Hi everyone, welcome. So for everyone who picked group number 1, so you all pick the card, Ask for Help from Others. So this is a hard one for a lot of us, okay? Ask for help from others. A lot of times when we're going through a hard time, we can even internalize it further and say, okay, well, since I'm going through a hard time, I'm definitely not going to ask for help from others, right? Which kind of, when you talk it out, doesn't really make sense, right? But in the moment, we can be like, I don't need help from anyone. I'm not asking anyone for help. I'm not doing any of this, right? But actually, when we feel like we're not worthy of help, or we feel like we don't need it, or we feel like, whatever, then that's actually when we need to be giving ourselves grace and compassion and asking for help even more, right? There's areas of our lives, probably if it's an area of your life where you don't feel comfortable asking for help, that's probably where you need the most help, okay? And no judgment, this happens to a lot of us, but just remembering that when you ask for help from others, right, some of us are so very willing to give to other people, to give help, to provide support, to do all of that. But when it comes time for us to receive help, or us to turn inward and be like, okay, do I actually deserve that? Can someone offer me help? Can, whatever, right? Then that's when we can kind of like, we don't complete that circle, right? And so when you think about giving and receiving, it's kind of like an infinite feedback loop, right? It's the infinity sign of why we're here on earth, how we help other people, what goes on with all of that, right? And so when we're only giving, we're blocking that energetic flow for giving and receiving. So it's not just that we are deserving of receiving help, especially if we're so willing to give it to other people, but it's like we interrupt, like that's why we can feel stagnant or upset or whatever is going on, right? And again, like we are, regardless of what capitalism tells us, or like, this Western culture of being incredibly self-reliant to the point that you are just like, you don't need anyone, don't need anything, right? Communal care is part of being a human. Connecting with other people is part of being a human. Letting people take care of you is part of being human. And so asking for help from others is continuing to allow that energy into your life to take care of you, to support you. And again, asking for help from others, right? What's coming through really strongly is whatever you feel like you don't need help with is where you should be asking for help the most. It's where you should be reaching out to someone, saying, it could be a friend, could be a therapist, could be a community member, it could be just watching a video, right? Whatever. But part of where you really need to ask for help is where you really feel like you don't deserve it. Easier said than done, but it's not just the asking for help, but it's being vulnerable and confident in yourself and patient enough that you are able to do that, right? We don't just ask for help. Asking for help is a miracle. We don't just ask for help all the time. We don't ask for help, when we feel like, oh my God, everything's amazing, I don't need help, right? When we feel embarrassed and ashamed, that's when we need help more. So ask for help from others. I don't know. It could be in all areas of your life. It could be a specific thing. Take what resonates, of course. This is just a general reading, but asking for help from others is definitely something that will come back tenfold to you. And just letting yourself receive care is healing, besides the actual thing that like you're getting help around from. Okay, group 1. So part of you picked that that group resonated with it. So I'm gonna really, really suggest that you honor yourself, honor the part of you that picked that. Ask for help from others, definitely. It's really, can be really scary, but when you use your discernment and your faith that it will be worth it, typically always is. Okay, I'm gonna look at some tarot cards for you. Yeah, I mean, you gotta stop stalling, okay, is what I'm hearing in terms of asking for help. You know what area of your life you need help with. and you're just like not letting yourself do that, right? So you have the Two of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. So just right away, you know, like this is, to me, this card is about learned helplessness, which, no judgment, sometimes that's a response to a situation where we actually didn't have any control or agency. But when the Two of Swords comes up to me, you know, it's kind of like I'm blocked off. I have my boundaries right at my fingertips, literally, but I'm still not choosing to set a boundary, do something different, be different, right? And so instead, what I'm doing is I'm just going to be like, nope, I can't do anything. But this is really about reminding yourself you do have a choice. You can say yes or no. You can show up in that way. You do have a choice to do that. And if this is what you want, you know, like the Six of Wands, you know, really like being proud of what you've done, being secure in yourself, feeling like connected to yourself. And then you have the Seven of Pentacles, which is like, what is that? What is it that you want? I feel like ask for help for you guys in group one. This is really more about like, you kind of need to redefine what you want for yourself, or just think about, where do I want to go? What's next for me? What feels proud for, what would I be proud of if I did? Where do I want to expand into, right? And then this is about, you know, kind of taking inventory, taking stock of that. Sometimes we can have an idea of what we think we want, and we think, oh yeah, this is definitely the thing I want. This is definitely what I want to do. This is where I'm going in my life. But then circumstances in life change. We have new things to consider. We change on a soul level in a way that maybe we didn't anticipate that we were going to. And so it kind of becomes this thing of like, wow, what do I do? You know, what am I looking forward to? What am I looking forward to changing and releasing and doing differently with that, right? So this is really about, you know, maybe some of this, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to ask for help, is coming from this place of like, I need to do a little more reflection, figure out what that is. Where do I want to go? What do I want to expand into? You know, you don't have to have all the answers right now, but you can just start with something smaller of like, okay, I know I kind of want to go in this direction. So what does that look like for me? And opening space up for that, instead of, again, feeling like, you know, you don't have to have all the answers to ask for help. You don't have to know, you know, I want to be at the end goal of this thing to ask for help. And the other thing I'm hearing, I want to make really clear, is you don't have to ask for help just for when you're struggling, right? That's a good time to ask for help for sure. But if you need help, like kind of expanding or growing out or changing or going that way as well, right? So it's not just about like, oh, I only need help when I'm, you know, when everything is so horrible and things are really bad, but I also need help when, you know, whatever thing is going on. You know, like I want to, you know, start a new business, or I want to start a new exercise routine, or I want to, you know, pursue this one higher education degree, or I want to move to this place, right? And so that can also be where you ask for help, of just like, I don't even know where to start with this. It's really overwhelming. I don't know what it looks like. I don't, you know, whatever. And so kind of like leaning into that and trusting it. Look at this. We have the Wheel of Fortune, Four of Wands, and Queen of Cups. So yeah, I feel like once you start doing that and start taking action and start kind of like expanding yourself, that's when, like, you know, the hands of fate kind of step in there and help us along and do things for us. And like, it's up to us to take the first steps, but we can just be amazed at like what comes in to help us and guide us and, you know, push us to change and show us where the next thing is, right? All of that can be, there's just a lot of things that come into play once we're brave enough to start doing something and being different, right? And this Four of Wands can really be about like, okay, I made it to the other side, I'm getting there, I'm leveling up, I'm going to this next place, I am able to have some agency in my life. Maybe it wasn't the agency I thought I had, or maybe this one particular thing I thought was going to happen for me didn't happen, right? But now it's something totally different. And then this Queen of Cups is about like emotional mastery, emotional fulfillment, just getting really clear about like, you know, like what we learn emotionally and how we grow and expand and lean into that and trust that along the path is like worth even more. Well, let's not say more, but it's worth it. It's just as valuable. That's what we want to say. Just as valuable as where we're going and what we're expanding into. So like, you know, what you learn along the way of like testing things out, doing a yes or no, seeing how things are unfolding, what's going on with that, right? As you do those things, like the reward you get from that and the depth of knowing yourself and the growth and changes that come from that are going to be just as valuable as like the thing you're working toward. And so just having faith that, you know, as you do ask for help, You get to practice humility, you get to practice receiving, you get to practice like listening to yourself and being in tune with yourself that maybe, you hadn't quite mastered before. So just having faith that, there's lessons in the lessons, there's layers in these lessons, there's things being shown to us of like, okay, this was working for me, now it's not, right? And just like having faith and leaning into that. Yeah, let's get a few more cards for you. Okay, yeah, so okay, so that we have these parts of us that we have like deep inner knowings, we have awareness, we have a part of us that is like unalterable and unchangeable on the soul level, right? And so that part of us, so you have the King of Wands, the Four of Swords, and the Eight of Wands. Okay, so that part of us is like, I feel like an access and a resource. You can ask for help from that part of you too. Now, I'm not saying don't ask for help from people in community, okay, especially if that's hard for you, definitely do that. But this is also saying that, it is important for you to have a relationship with yourself, have a relationship with your own intuition, have a relationship with like this part of you that your higher self, maybe you call it, right? But just like this part of you that is there and can give you guidance and feedback and clarity and all of these things, and just like tapping into that and asking for help and guidance from that. And a way we can do that, of course, is being still, praying, meditating, journaling, going for a walk, just feeling in your body, doing body scans, right? All of that. But all of these things kind of like, this is how you tap into yourself. This is how you get clear. This is how you can have some awareness around like, what do I want? Where do I want to go? Because the logical mind only knows so much, right? We think like, okay, here's my 5-year plan. And after I do this, then this is exactly what's going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And then this is going to happen. But never happens like that, right? Never happens. So this is where the part of us, like the soul that knows the next thing and kind of is our little intuitive guidance, which is like God giving us clarity and direction about where to go. That part of us is invaluable. And we so often forget to ask that part of ourselves for help because we're so stuck in our mind of like, okay, this is logically how I'm going to figure out. This is logically what I'm going to do. And like, I get it. We have to use logic. We have to make choices in that way. We have to definitely, do all of those things to show up for ourselves. But this is like in addition to that. And this is being aware of that. And this is, how do I turn inward and do those things as well? And then from there, this Eight of Wands, this is really about taking action, moving forward, doing something with that. So once you tap into that energy and awareness of yourself, it's going to be so much easier to take action and be inspired and be like, all right, cool. Now I know where to go. Now I know what to do. Now I know what's next for me with all of these things. So really holding space for that and really, trying to reestablish or establish that connection with yourself if, maybe you've never really felt that before, or sometimes that's a part of us that can get, as we get swept up in the day-to-day things that are required of us in life, that can be a part of us that we forget about or we don't really look at, right? So how can I tap into that and reconnect with that again when maybe I feel like I've been disconnected from it? Oh my God, look at this. Okay, so you have Justice, the Hermit, and Ten of Cups. So definitely about balance. Okay, asking for help. What I'm hearing, just again, so we're crystal clear here. Okay, so Justice, the Hermit, and Ten of Cups. So this is about turning inward, obviously, having solitude, connecting with yourself. And then if you look at this is like emotional fulfillment. This is like family support. Doesn't just have to be the nuclear family. It could be whoever you feel like is familial to you, but just really having some balance of where you're getting your help and support from. Don't rely on yourself completely. Don't rely on other people completely. Kind of find that fine line and figure out, what works for you. How can you tap into that? And how can you, offer yourself some grace and compassion and understanding and awareness around that for yourself. And again, you don't have to do it alone. You can do it your way. You can do it how you want, but you don't need to do it completely alone. Also, I don't know if you can. I don't know if that's really possible. Okay, I'm going to pull some oracle cards for you, group 1. You're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, face your truth north. Okay, so asking for help, sometimes, we can get really nervous because we're like, oh, can I do this? Am I smart enough? Am I capable enough? Am I, whatever, right? But so you're not for everyone. Just a reminder that you're not for everyone. Okay. So embrace a lot of times the parts of us that will be the most fulfilling to us are the parts of us that we feel the most shame about, we feel the most upset, or we feel like, oh, like I can't really do that. I can't really, that's not really me. That's not who I am. That's not, whatever. Right. So, but embrace that, you're not for everyone. You cannot make yourself fit into enough boxes to be likable enough to everyone in the whole world, right? And then when you are more of yourself, the people that find you and the people you're drawn to also, it's going to feel so much more fulfilling because you are embodying your energy and your truth instead of feeling like, oh, well, this is like a watered down version of me, so do they even like the real me, right? When you're brave enough to embrace yourself and embrace all you feel like you are in truth, like that's when you will really feel loved and cared for because you're being brave enough to be yourself. Oh my god, this is a huge I'm shuffling. Create. Look at that. Okay, so again, so asking for help, again, I'm taking how it resonates, but maybe this is a creative project. If it is, this is confirmation of that. This could also be around like, what do I want my new self to be like? Who do I want to grow into? What do I want to have happen? What do I want that to look like for myself? So creating space for yourself, giving yourself permission to be creative and what feels good to you and open in that way, and just create from the heart. That's how life feels good. It's a really beautiful part of our souls we're given. So being creative. Okay, I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you, group one. Okay, we have polishing my heart. Feeling is a power that helps me heal. It's really nice. Okay, so I think this can bring us full circle here to the beginning, right? Ask for help from others. What are you afraid of from asking for help? I'm afraid, they'll think I'm stupid, or they'll be mean to me, or I'll be rejected, or they won't help me, or I don't know, whatever else is going on for you. But when you feel that really, again, it polishes your heart, it opens you up to new things, it creates some awareness of yourself. You're able to move a little more freely between your things, right? So feeling is a power that helps me heal. This is a reminder that every time you are brave enough to feel your feelings, instead of like psychoanalyzing it and intellectualizing it, which has its time and place, right? But you can't get stuck there. So every time you're brave enough to do that, when you come on the other side, your heart is going to be a little more polished and a little more open and free and fulfilling. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. It's for everyone who picked group number 2. So you all picked the card Choose a New Direction. Okay, now before, oh my god, before the freak out, let's just remember, so this could actually mean choose a new direction, right? It could mean that, sometimes there's reroutes in our lives. There's things that God chooses for us that maybe we wouldn't choose for ourselves. There's blocks put in place, which are very intentional. And, reroutes are protection. They are guidance. Rejection is protection, right? But choose a new direction that could be one thing of it, just like, okay, this way I've been trying hasn't been working. It's time for me to try something new. But what I'm also hearing for group 2 for you guys is, you don't have to completely give up or abandon something. It could just be that maybe you need to put your energy somewhere else for a little bit, right? Sometimes we get really frustrated and we think like, I'm trying really hard and I'm putting in all this effort and I'm pushing and I'm going and I'm doing and I'm blah, 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 right? But then like nothing's happening. Okay. And so choose a new direction could be a reminder that sometimes when there is resistance, when we feel like we're like pushing and pushing and pushing, that's time for us to pull our energy back and push it somewhere else, right? So it's like, okay, what can I focus on instead of this thing I'm really hyper focused on? Where can I put my time and my energy and my space so I'm not just totally focused on this one thing, but instead I'm opening myself up to these other things, right? So choose a new direction can be a reminder that sometimes when there is so much resistance there, it's time for us to open up to do something different, to be in those ways. So choosing a new direction doesn't mean that you have to like completely give up on something, or but sometimes we usually know when it's time to give up on something before we are willing to do that. So this is a reminder that here's your confirmation that if you are doing that, then maybe putting yourself elsewhere. And then choose a new direction can also mean that it doesn't mean you just completely drop something or you give up on the dream or you cancel it or whatever, right? It just means that maybe for this time right now, I'm going to put my energy somewhere else and focus it there instead of being so hyper focused on all of these things. So choose a new direction. Let it breathe, give it some space. You can always come back to it, all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you. Yeah, something new wants to come through, but there's some resistance there is what I'm hearing, right? So we have the Empress, the Hanged Man, and Page of Cups. So this is about like mothering something, new energy. So even if you are not a woman, or even if you don't want to give birth to a human, okay, this is about creative energy. This is about a rebirth of yourself. This is about a new project, a new something, right? Something coming through that wasn't there before. And so this Empress energy is really like, okay, I'm ready for the next thing. I'm ready to move forward, ready for that new direction, right? But the Hangman here, this is again kind of like some learned helplessness, some powerlessness, some like the illusion of powerlessness, right? Like, oh, I can't do anything. My hands are tied, right? Like I'm just hanging upside down on this thing. I can't do anything, right? Okay. So this is just a reminder that it's important for you to kind of see where a lot of times we feel like we're completely powerless, but we just don't have the power that we think we have or that we want to have, right? I really want to be able to control this one specific thing. A lot of times that's not the thing we can control. So we get pissed, we give up, and we do something else, right? But this Hangman is a reminder that it's important for us to be able to recognize, okay, I can't control and I'm not in power over that thing, but here's these other things I have power and control over. And so that's where I'm going to focus my time and my energy and put it there instead of, all these other things. And then from there, we have this Page of Cups. So this is like getting surprised by something, kind of like a new idea, new introduction, I don't know, something new happening. So this is, again, we can usually feel when there's like, we're ready to grow and expand in some way, but it's just not happening. And so this is a reminder that when you are just remembering, like when you do control the things you can control, when you take care of what you can control, when you feel in charge of your space in your life, you are going to be pleasantly surprised by, first of all, what comes out from yourself, from like what you get aware of and what show some awareness around that, but also what surprises are brought to you, what people are brought to you, what opportunities are brought to you that maybe, you felt like you couldn't really touch or access before. So just again, when you're brave enough to try a new direction, to put your energy somewhere else, put yourself out there, then that's when like things you can be surprised by will come to you from that space. Okay, yeah. So again, I'm feeling there's this like this juxtaposition here. So you have the Six of Wands, Five of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords, right? So this is someone who is like secure, proud. This is what I feel. Just someone who's like has accomplishments and knows what they are, and knows how to talk about them, embody them, feel good. And then this is someone who's kind of like left out in the cold and just is this opposite feeling of this. So these feel like very juxtaposition to me. And so maybe like you started this one direction in life and you thought, oh, it's going to turn this out this way. It's going to be amazing. It's going whatever. But it actually ended up more like this, right? It became more of this thing of like, wow, everything that has meant to happen has happened. It's time for me to let this thing go. Our paths are done here, but sometimes we're afraid to let things go. No judgment, right? Because we're scared. I don't want to let it go. It might not be the best thing for me, but at least it's familiar. At least it's mine. At least I know how it goes, right? But this is really saying you do have the wherewithal, the ability, the discernment, the capability to set that boundary, to kind of cut it loose, do something different. And that Ace of Swords is this energy of just like you are able to release that and have things be different and do these types of things. And that is a gift, like again, you can discern you can say no. You can say enough is enough. You can leave. You have agency. You can pick something new. You can have a new habit. You can do something differently than what you've been doing. And so this is really just a reminder that when it's time to cut the cord, a lot of times we have to be the one to cut the cord, even if we like really don't want to. So kind of, holding space for that, having faith in that, having faith in what you are able to do differently with yourself, choosing a new direction, right? A new direction could also just be, it doesn't have to be like a complete reroute of your life. It could just be a new thought pattern, a new affirmation for yourself, a new way you're showing up for yourself, right? A new direction can also be just the way that you're talking and speaking to yourself too, or a thought process, or a goal you have, or how you want to live your life, or anything like that. There's lots of options for what new direction could be. Time to get going, group 2. Okay, so you have the Knight of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, and the Eight of Wands. So as you see, this Knight is one who has a lot of movement, ready to go forward, right? And then this Eight of Wands is about lots of action being taken, moving things forward, doing all of that. And then this Ace of Pentacles in the middle, this is really beautiful, and this is just, a reminder that when you are brave enough to take action, you will be there's benefits to that, right? So it could be like the physical reality benefit of I took action and I got this result. It could be the benefit of I thought this particular thing was going to go this way, but now it's something different. It could be the benefit of, oh, I got more clear on what I wanted from this action. It could be the benefit of, oh, I have more awareness, or I know what I want now, or whatever, right? So all of these things together can just be a reminder that as once you take action, you start to do things, then there's definitely benefits there, and those I don't want to say rewards, but okay, we'll say rewards, right? Those things can come to you in a way that is clear and open, and yeah, just more aware, and just these things that come to us when we're brave enough to take action and do something, advocate for ourselves, do something differently, show up how we want, right? It's so fulfilling. We get so much more than just the thing that we think we're walking and moving towards with that. So take action, okay? Choose a new direction and kind of go in that. Again, it doesn't have to be like you give up on something, or you abandon this part of your life, or you whatever. It could just be, okay, I'm ready to do something different now, and that looks like this whatever thing for you. Okay, so again, being brave enough to do something different, choose a new direction, is really important with that. Okay, so you have the Page of Swords, Seven of Cups, and the Sun. So this is, again, just sometimes, so I like on this card, the imagery here, like the ground's a little unstable, right? But we get our footing literally as we start to take action. So choosing a new direction, maybe it could be scary, like I don't want to go there, I don't want to do something different, I don't want to be different than what was happening. But this is a reminder that as you start to do that and you put yourself out there, then things change, and you can have a little bit you build confidence as you take action, right? Sometimes we think like, oh, well, I can't take the action because I don't feel confident, because I don't whatever, right? But the truth is, when you start to take that action, that's when the confidence comes. Like it's built through doing that, versus like, oh, I don't feel confident, so I can't do anything, when it's actually like the opposite way. And then we have the Seven of Cups. And so I think what I'm also hearing with this is, once you start doing that, more and more options are going to be open to you than you ever thought, right? Part of building confidence is like the actual options open for us. And also we realize, oh my God, there's so many more things here than I thought there could be. There's so many more things than are open and available to me than I thought were previously, right? So the Seven of Cups is just a reminder that there are things for you to do and change, and you can have them differently, even if you don't necessarily see how right now how that could be possible. And then we have the Sun. So again, I feel like this is just like a rebirth of energy, just kind of like feeling brand new, feeling excited, like the excitement of like a child, and also just feeling like totally revitalized and totally like, oh my God, I'm reborn, I'm free, I have this new direction that feels good to me, it's guiding me, it's showing me where to go, what to do, and all that, and just kind of moving forward with those things. So again, just really the confidence comes from starting to do something and building that momentum and going with it, than feeling like, oh, I feel totally completely amazed right now, so that's when I'm going to take action. When it's like, the more you do these things, then the more confidence you start to have. Okay, I'm going to pull some oracle cards for you now, group 2. Forge, don't follow, pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. So it's exactly what I was just talking about. Okay, so like being brave enough to choose the new direction, being brave enough to, sometimes we feel like, oh, I'm just at the whim of life. I don't have a choice. I can't make a decision. I can't whatever, right? There are circumstances that happen where we, like what I was talking about before, where we are really upset because we're not in charge of those specific things, but there's so many other things in our lives that we do have power and control over. And so this is really saying, don't feel like you just have to be like tossed around by life, right? You can make a choice, you can make a decision, you can move forward, you can do these things. And again, you can have that new path, you can be the leader you wish you had, you can change these things in your life that maybe we can't control everything, but like I was saying before, sometimes we feel like, oh, because I can't control this one specific thing that I really wanted to be a certain way, we can kind of forget all the other things we do have power and control over. So really, honoring that and holding space for that for yourself. Say I'm sorry. Okay, so this could be to someone else. This could be, maybe choosing a new direction. You have to let someone down. Maybe it could be that you have to say no to something, right? And so this is really, if you do need to do that, then like for sure. But this, what I'm really also hearing is saying sorry to yourself, right? So I'm sorry for the times that I made you do something that, or I told you your dreams were stupid, or I made you do something that didn't, wasn't on the path that we wanted to go. And like, again, we can't do everything completely we want all the time, right? So saying I'm sorry can also include to yourself of just like, I'm sorry for these projections I put onto you. I'm sorry for how mean I was to you. I'm sorry when I wasn't understanding, right? There can be a lot in there. But again, just taking it how it resonates. But saying I'm sorry, forgiveness, you can write a forgiveness letter to yourself, all of that is really helpful and important. Okay, let's close with one affirmation for you. Group 2. Welcoming surrender. There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. So this one's really annoying to the ego, okay, always. But again, when we choose another direction, when we do something differently, sometimes we think like, oh, well, if this could just be different, or if I could just be on this path in this way, and I really wanted it to go this one certain way, right? But when we surrender and, this is what I was talking about with the forge don't follow, right? There's some things that we absolutely have to surrender to. We can't change no matter how much we wish we could. And this is one of those, there are things we do have control over, but we're talking about the things we surrender to. Sometimes we can have resistance because it's like, I don't want to go that way. I don't want that to be the path. I don't want it to, whatever. And again, certain things we can say no to, but there are certain things in our life that that's life on life's terms. That's the will. That's how things are unfolding and what we have to do. So there is no problem, only destiny being revealed. And just surrendering to that, we are not in charge all the way we think we are. God is in charge. And that's it. That's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome to everyone who picked group number 3. So you'll pick the card Improving Health. This is really beautiful. Just look at the imagery of that. Look at the beautiful health that's improving. Okay, so this can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, any of your healths. It could be all of them, right? Because they're interlocked, as we know. So when you improve one, they improve the other. But so if you have been thinking about taking steps to do this is confirmation to do that. Okay, or if you're on the path and maybe you're feeling frustrated, like, oh, nothing's working, nothing's happening, just remember, like, you didn't get unwell overnight, right? It's usually an extended amount of times and circumstances and things built up to this. And so just having patience with yourself, right? Especially when it comes to our health, we can do things that we know are like healthy things, but we're not in control of when they come to fruition, or when they quote unquote work, or when we see results from them, right? So this is just a reminder that if you are working on improving your health, to keep staying the path. A lot of times we don't see the results that we think we have. Like we we want the results way sooner than they come. Okay. So a lot of times with our health, part of it is like, do I still have the discipline to show up for myself and do things even when like I don't really want to, or even when I um don't feel like it, or I'm not seeing how this could be helping, or whatever, right? So improving health, this is a reminder that you can there can be a delay in when you see the results from what you're doing, but you should praise the action and just be proud of yourself for showing up, for doing these things, and like focusing on how are you feeling when you do these things, right? Like, and just having being proud of yourself to improve your health, to do these things, to take these steps, even if again you don't see like this very clear results right away, from what you've been doing and how you've been showing up for yourself. So, but this is also saying, health is wealth. We don't have anything if we don't have our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual health. So if you are thinking about doing something to invest in that, to use time to do something different, please do. It is a gift to give yourself, and a gift that, comes back tenfold when you have all these things. So, yeah, just really uh improve your health. Go health. We love health over here. It's really important, however that looks like for you too. So if I'm also hearing like, do it in a way that makes sense and works for you. You don't have to follow the same health plan as everyone else, or what people expect of you, or whatever. You can do the things that feel good and right and true, for you. Okay, I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you. Yeah, so we have the Hierophant, Nine of Pentacles, and the Two of Cups. So, you got to do the basics, all right? There's no, with health, if we just look at physical health, right? Diet and exercise, and not like going on a diet, but what you're eating, right? Those are the basics that work with our physical health. There's some other things in there, emotional health and all of that, but like that is a good baseline place to start and work from for everyone, no matter what your goals are, what's going on with that. And so, just going back to the basics, going back to these things that we know are tried and true, that do benefit us, all these things. So going back to those basics. And then what I'm hearing is having patience with yourself with that, right? So maybe, you're at like, again, this isn't a judgment thing, but maybe you're just starting out on your health journey, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever. And you're like, oh no, I should be, these people who have invested 10, 15 years into their own, right? I should be at that place with that. But it's like, well, should you be, or, if can you just be at the pace where you're at? So maybe, you see someone and you're like, oh, wow, they're all the way up there and that's where I need to be. And I'm judging myself and I'm being mean to myself and I'm so stupid. And why can't I just be as advanced as them and doing all these things, right? Not taking into consideration your own factors and situation of your life. So I'm hearing, give yourself some compassion, meet yourself where you are, have faith that, again, okay, I can't, deadlift 200 pounds yet, but I also haven't been to the gym in 8 years. And so I'm going to give myself time and patience as I build my stamina to get up there, right? So it doesn't matter, when you start, it matters when you stop. It matters when you don't go anymore. It matters when you stop showing up for yourself, trying to make something happen. So it's a reminder that, you can move through these things and do them in a way that does benefit you, but it's not going to do you any favors to be like super mean to yourself or super judgmental, or anything like that, if you're trying to show up for yourself and move through those things. So meeting yourself where you're at and giving yourself some like love and care and compassion, is that's going to help you along the way. It is going to help you uh kind of get to where you want to go with those things. Okay, let's get some more cards for you. Okay, so we have the Nine of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. So, okay, it can be scary to start something you've never done before, but slow and steady wins the race. Okay, there's no race, but if there was, that's how you would win it. Okay, so this is just a reminder that, you got to demystify these things you want for yourself. Like, okay, I'm going to start working out, or I'm going to start, looking at my mental health, or I'm going to start building a relationship with God or my higher power or whatever that looks like for you, right? You're not going to, again, the same concept of if you start here, you're not going to be all the way over here. You're not going to know what to do. You go along the way, right? So the first thing is reminding yourself it's okay to start where I am. It's okay to have the thought process I have, it's okay for me to go at the pace that works for me, right? So that's definitely here. And just kind of like, this is okay. Let me see, take the blindfold off. Let me see what's going on. Let me feel it out. Let me see what's working. Let me, all of that. And then this is slow and steady. Okay. This is remember where you want to get to, what you want to do, and just doing one step at a time, one thing at a time. Just go do your workouts, go talk to my counselor once a week, go just start praying in the way that feels good for me right now, right? Whatever it works for you, like starting whatever goal feels like too small or too little, or you're judging yourself for, if it's more than what you're doing right now, start with that. That's a good place to start, a good place to go, all of those things. And then look, you can get there. Okay. Right. There's, okay, what do I want to say? The number one determiner of if we reach our goals or not is whether we stop or not, right? And a lot of times, a lot of us stop because it takes way longer than we want it to, or it's way harder, or we have to figure out this other thing, or we, whatever. So this reminder to just kind of like, okay, I can take it one step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. Just have to do my one little things here. And there's so many things once we start going, we build momentum, we build confidence, we get more clear about what we actually want to do and what we don't want to do, how we want to show up, how we don't want to show up, right? So all these things kind of add up and work together for us in ways that, it's the way to do it is you start bad, and you start with failing, and you start with not knowing what to do, and you start by figuring it out, right? So this is just a reminder that there's a lot of, you have to be humble to get started, and you have to be humble to keep going, and you have to be humble along the way as you figure it out. All of those things really add up for ourselves. And so, yeah, just remember improving your health. You figure it out along the way. It's not just like, oh, I know what to do and here I am, right? Like new patterns take time to build up. They take time for us to work through to figure out all of those things. All right, then we have the Knight of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, and Strength. So again, slow and steady wins the race here. Okay. So I feel like sometimes when we want to improve something or change something in our life, we're just like, I'm doing everything overnight. I'm going to be totally different tomorrow. And that usually doesn't work unless it's like an extreme case, or maybe you have like a health diagnosis, or there's been some other type of extreme situation, right? But most of the time, things that are long lasting and most helpful for us are things that we don't start going like that. Okay, we don't go full force on them right away. And so sometimes when we do that, what we're actually trying to do is protect our hearts, because when you stay with yourself, when you go gently and compassionately, we're unfolding these things in ourselves of like, oh my God, I'm so ashamed, or I'm so embarrassed, or I'm so, whatever, like, I can't believe this is what I had to work through, or this is what I did, or, whatever. So going slow and steady, and having like being able to do something like controlled and like kind of a slower pace, that's actually strength, right? Just flying by the seat of your pants, totally out of control, don't know what's going on, like, woo, let me do all this stuff, right? Doing something like slow and controlled and intentional, that's a level of strength. So improving your health, if you feel like, oh, I can't do this, I'm scared, whatever, just like being consistent for 1 week, that's amazing. A lot of people can't do that. They can go really hard, like on day one, right? I can do that, but then they fall off in a few weeks. And why is that? Because they try to do everything all at once. So just take small steps, keep small promises to yourself, make these adjustments in small, subtle ways that you can show up for yourself, instead of just feeling like, oh, I have to fix all of this right away with everything, right? It could just be, okay, step one, today I'm just going to add in a daily walk. I'm going to do that. And in 3 months, I'm going to reevaluate and add something else. And then I'm going to do this other thing and do something else, right? Or, again, just figuring out where do you want to start and going from there, instead of feeling like, again, you have to like completely, do everything all at once right away, because you don't, baby steps. And again, that's how you build habits long term, is by doing those types of things, instead of, feeling like you have to go completely overnight change yourself, because that's not sustainable, it's not long lasting. And then, then we get frustrated that it's not long lasting, and then we can harm ourselves even more because we're like, wow, why didn't I just stick to this? When it's like, well, these things take time, and we have to build habits at a slow and steady pace if we want them to be sustainable in our lives. Okay, so we have Two of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and Ace of Swords. So yeah, I think just start doing something. Okay. This is like, the yo-yo. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know whatever. Right. So this is saying just pick one of them, literally. There's two pentacles on this. So pick one. Pick the other one. Okay. Set some boundaries and get going. Right. So this is really easier said than done. And just because something is simple doesn't mean it's easy, right? But sometimes we can over intellectualize in our heads of like, okay, I have to do it in this way, at this time, at this speed, at this thing, at this, whatever. When it's like, well, actually, you can do it. You could just start. You could just start by starting, and you could go along the way and you figure it out. So we reach a point where us trying to over strategize actually harms us more than just doing something and starting. So whatever you need to do one thing starting tomorrow that you can do, and stick to it for a month and see what happens, right? Don't try to go completely overnight, whatever, and don't just stay stuck in your mind of, oh, I have to do this and this all at once. Okay, I'm going to pull some oracle cards for you, group 3. Okay, we have lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. So if you believe in past lives, you can tap into that energy. If not, just think about in this lifetime, how many times you have changed your own patterns, your own habits, your own this, okay? And like really rely on that and just say, okay, I've done it in this area of my life, so I know I can do it in this area of my life as well, right? So you, even if something is new, you've probably mastered something in your life before. You've done something different. You've changed a thought pattern. You said no, you set a boundary, you whatever, right? So just remember that, you do have the capability of doing this. You've done it in some other area of your life, so you can apply it to this. And again, that doesn't mean it's automatically easy or it's like, no problem, now I just figured it out, right? There are challenges with this, but this is a reminder that if you have done it before, you can do it again. Okay, so really holding space for that and honoring that. Tell the truth. Okay, so sometimes, we can't improve our health because we don't face the truth, right? And sometimes it is a defense mechanism, totally understandable, right? But we have to get honest about what's going on if we want it to change. You can't change anything or adjust anything or have anything be different if you're unwilling to. You have to look at it clearly. If you're not willing to look at it for what it is, things aren't going to change. So tell the truth here is a reminder that tell the truth to yourself, be honest with yourself, be honest with whoever you're working with, be honest about the situation, be honest about, whatever, right? And again, not feeling shame. That part of the hardest thing of changing our habit is feeling shame around the habits we currently have or what we're currently doing, instead of deciding like, okay, I am going to move forward. I am going to, do this other thing. So yeah, tell the truth to yourself if you want to. The truth shall set you free. It's very true. Okay, I'm going to close with one affirmation card for you, group 3. Receiving elation. I am born of infinite joy. Okay, so this is a good reminder. If you're changing your habits, this doesn't have to be like totally, blah, 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 I hate this so much. Okay, so you can make it fun. And again, it's not going to be fun when you like have to face, the whole thing isn't going to be fun. There's going to be some difficult situations, right? But remember, you can add some play, some laughter, some different types of things in there besides just like, okay, I'm improving myself and I'm really serious and I have to figure it out and I have to whatever, right? So I am born of infinite joy. Just try to, when a little kid learns something new, they're really excited. They want to figure out what's going on. They're really they want to get clear about it and have fun and laugh. And it's okay if they make a mistake. See if you can channel some of that to yourself when you do these things. So I'm born of infinite joy is just a reminder, like, this doesn't have to be so Debbie Downer serious of things you're working on improving it yourself. You can have fun, you can have joy, you can give yourself peace and space and creativity and all of that as well. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.